Let's take a look. Yeah, Mirana can be a little hard to trade with, for sure. At level 1, I do think, assuming you don't get hit by an arrow, should be able to win trades with a good dual breath. Um,
Oh yeah, as I say, I'm awful with dual breath. It is like unbelievably bad.
Alright. I'm okay with these starting items, I think. You could also consider selling off. Oh, it's kind of awkward. I guess it's up to you, depending how much you think you want to trade. Um, this either replacing one mango, like sell off one mango, sell off the salve and buy it later, or sell off like some combination of these, but to start with a sentry and block the camp from Marana so that she can't arrow the big creeps, I think could be worth doing.
I always sit there and think because I look at so many things of people just being like, okay, you make sure to block the hard camp, and then there are some that will say, oh, you need to make sure you have the hard camp for side pulls and things like that. And it's knowing what lane that I specifically have to do it. Is it if I'm in sort of a disadvantageous lane? Is that kind of when I have to say, okay, I won't be trading. I kind of just have to fall back to the small camp pull and just kind of keep equilibrium as best as I can if I can't trade.
I would say if you are... So yeah, if you're in a losing lane, like it's a really bad matchup, you probably want to block the hard camp so they can't make use of it. If you are in a lane that is not strictly bad, but that the enemy heroes can make use of the creeps there, ignoring pulling, they can just use it. So people like Enchantress, people like Marana, sometimes Doom, Chen, it can be worth blocking the camps. And I've been seeing a lot of people against Marana, they just block the camp. They don't want her to arrow the big creep and just take the lead right off the bat.
Yeah, I watch a lot of Husky sort of streams into that, and he like almost like seemingly exclusively blocks. He just goes in there and just says, "No, I'm not dealing with this." Just blocks it.
Yeah, I've been seeing it a lot too. I think a lot of high level players think that against. I think that's like the appropriate way to play Marana. I'm not 100% sure because I suck at Marana, but
oh, I'm awful at it.
Yeah, but I think that's what the ideal goal is. And anytime I see like a pro replay and I watch their perspective against Marana, I swear they block the hard camp like 95% of the times.
I just see it and they're just kind of like I suppose it's just better to just put something down that you can control and just be like, I just don't want to deal with this.
And I think for you as a Jakiro, once she hits leap, level 2, it's gonna be really hard for you to win a trade because every time you use dual breath, she's just gonna leap away until it fades, and then she's gonna come back. And
with a damn attack speed bonus that kind of just destroys everything you want to do in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. I think you guys probably could have tried for this rune, but what made you guys not want to? You were worried about like Marana Pudge?
Yeah, Marana Pudge. I was just kind of sitting there with the 2 skill shots going, this is just going to be a disaster. I'm going to be like a magnet for it. I'm just not going to bother.
Alright, fair enough. I think you maybe could have like peeked out a little further, but at the same time, if you're worried about everyone not showing, then I think that's fair too.
Right, I remember this lane being an absolute disaster, so I'm ready. I'm ready for the...
Okay, so dual breath attacks. Oh, that part was okay. Pudge is a little closer than I want him to feel capable of being. But I think part of that is your Ursa also needs to come up. Okay, so yeah, I was worried about this.
Yeah, messed up. Yeah.
So isn't it hard to juke arrows when you're stuck in the trees?
It's awful.
Exactly.
Because obviously because you can't see it either. So it's...
Yeah. So the first trade I thought was okay because you're in a bit more open area and the way the lane was balanced was okay. Coming up here is really scary to me because of where the lane is. Like, you're now pretty far from the Ursa. So like Ursa's over here, you're over here. And I mean, exactly what happens here is that the Pudge comes over, cuts you off, and then Marana's able to land an easy arrow for this first blood. So I think to avoid this, you do want to trade and like zone them, but you kind of were. Like when you were still here, you were, and it was like Ursa was getting last hits. I actually think Ursa wants to pressure Pudge a little bit more, but your actual job of like keeping the Mirana away and leaving like Ursa versus Pudge 1v1, Ursa wins. So you're
Yeah.
keeping the Mirana away, and that's good. And then you went too far, and Pudge came over, they've killed you. Technically Ursa's farming, but we didn't need to, we didn't need to die for that. I think you could have just backed off after that first part, maybe move to this right side. So it's like, oh, I saw Mirana over there, I'll come over here now. And, you poke this Pudge a little bit, or you go get ready to do a pull. Because if you do a pull and Mirana comes over, then once again, you've successfully gotten Ursa versus Pudge 1v1. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of your... Pudge is
Yeah.
such a weak offlaner, right? I think that's just your goal. Anytime you play...
Yeah.
I don't even know if it matters what carry you're playing with. I think like all of them should do fine against Pudge 1v1. So as long as you're keeping the 4 busy, I think you don't need to go further than that.
Like I try and push my limit way too far, and then I end up feeding. It is an unfortunate habit.
Yeah, sometimes just
It's not
Ursa...
when to chill.
Yeah, exactly. Ursa used to be stronger level 1, but he has gotten nerfed, so now a better idea for like when he's going to be really strong is at least level 2, but towards level 3 he starts to feel a lot better to play aggressive with. So you don't have to feel like, oh, we got to go right now, go get kills. I think it's okay to take it a little slower.
I play a lot of Crystal Maiden, and I feel like because I trade with Nova a lot more, I sit there and think, oh, I can just, I can just do this and win everything at level 1.
All right. So what was your thought on stacking that camp instead of this small camp right here?
My thought process was that I felt like I was in a position where my Ursa just kind of wanted to take stacks, and I was also kind of worried that Mirana and Pudge normally take stacks when I try and do small camp pulls. A lot of the time the 4 kind of comes and contests it, and I feel weaker, so I just kind of went for what I thought was the safer option in just getting a camp that was further away, just in case the lane doesn't go well. We've got I was kind of setting up an insurance policy before I'd actually lost the lane.
Gotcha.
I think that was kind of my thing. I kind of overstepped the mark, and now I went into full retreat passive mode, feeling, oh, I've already messed this up.
Yeah, I would say that unless you're playing with like Naga Siren, maybe Terrorblade, someone who can jungle from like level 4 or 5, I don't think there's a real need to like start stacking these for your carry. Maybe like a mid if you had like Alchemist, if you had some other like TA jungle farmer and the lane's going well, then you can start thinking about like stacking these. But especially in these first few minutes, I think you still want to be focused more about how can we win this lane. Because many of your carries, like Ursa can't even do stacks till like Battle Fury, which that's like 10 plus minutes away at best situation. So having this small camp stacked instead means you have like way more lane control. And you should be, you should consider what you were thinking, like, can the offlane come steal it? But I would say Pudge is kind of weak at this, and that Mirana's okay, but she likes to steal big creeps with arrow. She actually, dealing with like a stacked small camp is kind of irritating for her because arrow only kills like 1 creep, but then there's like a bunch of little creeps that block the arrow anyways. And so for example, oh no, the big creep was here. Yeah, so like she wants to arrow this big creep, but then these little creeps are here. So then imagine like a whole stack. It's really hard to get like the one you want, but in a small camp, even the like most important creep like isn't that important, especially when it's stacked. So even if she arrows 1, you can still use it. And if she uses her Q to try to farm this, it's not even enough at level 1 or 2. But it's also kind of not a great use of her mana, I think. So I think you wanted to stack this camp, and then, for example, you could pull this wave right here at 2, whatever timing you want to use, 214 through 218. Pull the...
I've been trying to do half pulls because I watched your video on half pulls. So I've been trying it in like I don't think I do it in this game, but I've been trying to experiment with it more. It's been a struggle, but I've got there sometimes.
Yeah, it's tough. let's go back real quick then. So if you wanted the best way to do the half pull, because I think you could have done it here too. So that's the one thing I was thinking when you were in these trees. So you traded once, and after that trade, I think you should be leaving already. Like if you want to do a half pull because you're on this side, you actually have to leave like now to like go back through here, and then like run all the way over. That's one reason why being on this right side is a little easier usually, but I didn't mind you starting here. But then it's like, okay, I gotta go. Like if I want to use this pull, or like whether it's a full pull or a half pull, it's like I gotta start heading over now. And so let's say you did that. For one, you won't die because you'll be like over here in the jungle. Well, if you left, we were probably like still here, like doot, and then you do this half pull. This would be a good camp for it, and then you could stack it at 2 minutes. Yeah, you probably wouldn't have died. So then you'd have like a stacked camp here. And then this lane is like quite different because you'd have, so instead of your death, you have like 2 creeps denied. You have a stacked camp ready to deny this next wave about to spawn right here. And then, like we said, Pudge sucks, right? 1v1. And so like if he falls behind, it like he sucks even more. So the fact that it pushed up is kind of bad. He should be getting denied a lot.
And then if I deny the experience, Ursa gets the solo under the tower, maybe hits his level 3 power spike, and then if they contest it, we can probably we can kill what comes over there.
Yeah, exactly. And especially for your aggressive potential in this game, it's Ursa's level that matter a bit more than yours. Like your level 2 is not a huge spike. It's nice for your like own individual trading, but as long as you have like the dual breath slow, that's enough for Ursa to like get all his damage in. So especially if you do like go a little hardcore, give a lot of XP to Ursa, I think that'll be good. This pull, I think you need to be denying your creeps as much as possible, more than those last hits, especially because she arrowed 1 creep. I think you're gonna start pushing a bit again. Actually, maybe not. Oh, actually, it did kind of work out.
To rot the wave. Yeah, I could see that he was rotting the wave more onto it. So
okay,
that's just my own personal experience with Pudges. They seem to want to do that. I have no idea why.
I think you could have double stacked this. I think you could have hit this at 53 and hit this at 55. Like Jakiro's a little slow, so it's kind of hard. But especially if you use liquid fire to like walk over here, hit this, walk down, liquid fire this one, and then walk out, I think you might actually be able to stack both of these. But I think coming here to stack was all right. There wasn't too much for you to do. But yeah, I
defaulted to chain pulling in this.
Yeah, at this point though, it's the first minute or 2 was like the more important one. Now it's getting a little weird, where now it's like now these kind of pulls are causing the lane to like keep shoving into a Pudge, and I think Pudge is getting a lot more than he's supposed to in this lane. I think against Pudge, you wanted a very controlled, and it's not just Pudge, there are certain matchups, but like Pudge is one of them, where if your carry wins the 1v1 against the enemy offlaner, then a lot of the times you just want to stall it out here. Right around here. Because if the odds are that if your carry beats them in a 1v1, you guys also win the 2v2. And then obviously you win 2v1 as well. And that means, like, no matter how you play the lane, as long as it's in a decent spot, you should be winning. You should be denying the Pudge. But it's when it, like, shoves up to here, or, like, rubber bands back and forth, and you, like, keep shoving creeps into the towers. Well, then Pudge, who was supposed to be losing, is now actually getting some creeps uncontested. So if you can identify that, like Ursa, he's supposed to beat Pudge, and when we're both here, like we're still supposed to win this matchup, then this happening is actually quite bad to shove in the lane like this. So I kind of missed how the original wave started to push in the beginning, but that's why like you dying was kind of bad, because like you could probably play this lane kind of on the passive side and still do okay. And then like if you do the pull instead, like we are supposed to win and Mirana has to come contest you. If she doesn't contest you, then you start to deny creeps, you guys take the lead, and then you start killing them. So I think the first, what's the net worth at? Oh yeah, so like this is really bad. Like the fact that Pudge is actually at the top.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so this is actually all about the first, like, 2-3 minutes that happened here. And even with your death, if you had stacked the small camp instead, I think it still would have gotten better. Um, so yeah, it's
It's just a snowball effect, really, isn't it?
yeah. And it looks like an even lane because you guys are like roughly the same level and stuff. But technically, going even in this lane should be a loss because Pudge is so weak. So I want to see if you stack again real quick. This actually, since you're here so early, I would actually go for the double stack here. Downside being that Ursa and OD are not the best stack clearers. At least not until OD gets Meteor Hammer. But even then, he's like kind of awkward about it. So usually like prioritizing the lane when you have someone like Ursa who doesn't actually like farm that fast, it's usually a little better. But in this case, you had the time to do it, so I think it's fine. But like I think Pudge should feel threatened. Like every time he's alone, and he's been alone a lot. I don't know what Mirana's doing. Looks like she's roaming maybe, not stacking. Like that Pudge should die. And so then when the lane gets pushed up like this, that's why it's like such an issue. Because if the lane's here and staying here, then you are free to like disappear for a little bit, and Pudge thinks, oh, I don't know where Jakiro is, so I guess I can walk up, and then you're stacking, and then you come back and he doesn't know, and the lane's here, so you guys actually can kill him because he like has to run all the way home like this. But you have like 2 slows between this Earth Shock and your dual breath. But when the lane's here, it doesn't work, right? Pudge, whether he knows where you are or not, he's like, yeah, I'm actually totally safe here because I'm like so close to my tower. So yeah, I kind of feel like if we're focusing on Jakiro laning, then actually this is like most of what we need to get out of this game. All right, it's not super clear to me, but I'm guessing Spirit Breaker Silencer in this top lane.
I think so, yeah. Unless it was this weird. No, I don't think this was a sniper support lane. I'm pretty sure.
Actually, like it doesn't. To me, maybe Crystal Maiden, but none of these other heroes I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't start with.
I got the magic stick for the arcane curse because I thought it was against Silencer. That's the only reason I got it. I remember that.
So this one.
Yeah.
I would still recommend not to grab it right away, because there's there's a variety of silencer starting builds, but one is to use Glaives of Wisdom, which means you wouldn't get any magic stick charges anyways. And in that case, he's bullying you with Glaives of Wisdom, and you're not getting like anything out of this magic stick. So it's like 200 gold that doesn't help you fight the silencer.
Yeah.
Then
and less regen, isn't it? So
yeah, and if he does start with Arcane Curse, I mean it's still quite a long cooldown, and just getting a stick charge from this is still not gonna feel like enough. And then Spirit Breaker, if he's in here, we can see he started with Greater Bash, which also doesn't give magic stick charges. But then if he uses Charge of Darkness, a lot of the times it'll be outside of your magic stick range or out of your vision. Either way, you don't get the magic stick charge, and then he comes in, which means you're just not gonna get a magic stick charge. So if you want to get it like later, like after level, I don't know, 2 or 3, when Silencer will probably have access to, like, you know, if he started Glaives of Wisdom, he probably will have Arcane Curse, and like this guy, he may start to charge like within range, or maybe he picks up a early point in Bulldoze. Like then I think it's more acceptable. But for your early lane, I think, especially with an Alchemist where you'd really prefer to have a strong start, I think the magic stick is like looking to win in the long run with like out efficiencying them with the magic stick. And so unless you can start doing that immediately because they have spells, then it's gonna feel awkward. Now if they are a lineup that's going to cast a ton of spells right at the bat, then yeah, it's fine. And it is like a early game item in that sense.
Is that like a Rubik or something like that? Something that...
Yeah, Rubik's, Bristlebacks. Bristleback Bat Rider, they're like, of course, on their own, you can get one. But then when you have a combination of like, let's see, I'm suddenly blanking on them. Like Rubik, I don't know what, I can just open up the hero tab. So someone like Rubik, like he's a support that casts a decent amount. Beastmaster casts like a decent amount. You know, Timbersaw frequently casts like Q and W, although he might start reactive armor. Underlord, he's gonna use Q a lot. People who kind of have to lane with spells. Mars, he has to use his W to secure like creeps and trade. Nightstalker uses Q to secure creeps and trade, and that's good for you because they're like using it on the creeps, so you're not taking damage, but you're still getting the stick charge. Like Abaddon, who has to cast decent spells, Axe.
So I was like, I was playing with that or Windlace, but I was just like, I'm against. I thought the Spirit Breaker. I'm against a melee hero, so I thought, okay, I could use Windlace to kind of keep the gap.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of. Then I was like, no, it's going to be a ranged support, so I didn't see the point.
Mm-hmm. I would say, I agree. I don't think you need it for the range support. And against Spirit Breaker in particular, the Windlace can be nice, like if he starts Bash, but if he starts Charge, he gets on top of you, and there's like no outrunning that. And then the Windlace can help you get away, so like it could still be okay, but like if the stun alone from Charge is enough to set up the force, the offlaner or the other support, whatever, then sometimes it's still not enough. And going for like extra stats is better to survive the stun duration, and then like Fairy Fire or something, if you need to. So like against Silencer, you're gonna be trading a lot, and so I would go for something more regen stat heavy. So I'd probably pick up like a Salve and either an Iron Branch or like a Fairy Fire, I think. And then here I just wanted to say I think you should cast Dual Breath sooner. So we don't see Acid Spray anymore, but as long as this rune, like up until this rune spawn, they have a reason to stay here, and they don't want to leave too early, which means you're going to use Dual Breath, and you're going to be able to like right-click trade here. But once the rune spawns, they take it, he can immediately start running away. They're not, in this case, they're like still fighting you a little bit. But like if you use Dual Breath when you did, like they can just leave now, and they sort of do. Whereas if you use it like 3 seconds before the bounty rune spawns, especially because they were standing here, then they were standing in a line, I think you can Dual Breath it, and they have to stay and trade while affected by the attack slow, or they give up the bounty rune, and you're okay with both of those. If you take the bounty rune, you're happy, or you get to like beat them up, and that's fine too.
And since they're there, they've kind of committed to being there. So normally, like the players will probably just be like, "Well, I'm here now. I might as well try and get the bounty." And then they realize they've taken like 3/4 of the health just for a bounty trade.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of trading, like when you, want to use your spells, is often based on like, has the enemy committed? So like Dual Breath especially. Is the enemy committed to being here, or can they just leave? So like when you Dual Breath at max range, there's like no reason to stay because they can just like leave because they're like, oh, Jakiro's not on top of me, and like I'm affected by Dual Breath, I walk away. But if they're like in the middle of going for last hits, or if they're already like right next to you, now it's like, well, if I run away, I am losing out on something. I'm losing a last hit, or Jakiro's gonna hit me a couple times. So kind of identifying when you are gonna be able to get auto attacks in is part of getting off good Dual Breaths. And one of those is like that bounty rune example where there's like, I'm not allowed to leave or I give up this objective.
It's kind of like using that to bait them into it.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to like aggressively attack, like trying to like harass with Jakiro and not pull the 500 aggro range.
It's
sometimes
really hard, yeah.
It's pain. You start a circle and then go into it, and then they kind of have that kind of run up to you, and then they walk away.
Yeah.
Really painful.
So because these creeps are hitting you, you're losing this trade. Otherwise, I think it would have been an okay trade. But this is an idea for you, since you can't. Many times you can't have this coordination, but if you play with a carry, then you can. Towards the end of this first creep wave, if you were to, let's say, Dual Breath like around here, and you hit their creeps, the end result is that you'll push a bit, but you're going to get on a lot of damage on the Spirit Breaker who doesn't have a salve. And if you clicked their items earlier, you would see that Silencer and Spirit Breaker didn't have salves. I actually wasn't 100% sure. I don't think I saw you click them, but maybe you did.
Oh no, I probably didn't. Like in full honesty, I probably.
I forget like 80% of my games too, so don't sweat it. It's a habit I need to make myself get better at. But anyways, yeah. So if you identify he doesn't have a salve, if he is at like 100 health, he's not contesting the Alchemist, even if you're up here, right? Because he's just scared. He's like acid spray and then an auto attack, and I'm dead. So if you can damage this guy a lot, it's actually safe to leave Alchemist alone for a little bit. And so right here, I think this is a pretty good spot for a trade where you'll use Dual Breath on him. You'll hit the creeps. You're going to draw aggro to yourself from the right clicks, but the creeps are also affected by an attack slow and a move slow, so it's actually kind of okay. And you'll attack this Spirit Breaker probably like 3 times as he's like trying to leave. And then, so let's say you do it, you get this trade in, and that kind of sets up that he'll be lower, and you can start to like think about getting ready for this small pull at 117. Now we still have a bit of time before that, so it's like, okay, we use Dual Breath, we play the lane a bit, and it's like, okay, maybe now's another good time for Dual Breath, because I really want to whittle this guy down. So whether you did it before, or maybe this is the first time here, is like Dual Breath and a couple auto attacks here to start whittling him down so that he has to play a little more safe. Because I actually want to leave for like right now, like around now is when I want to start heading over to that small camp and make sure I can do this pull. Now it's too late to do the 117 pull, which is not the worst, but it is like one option you have, especially with an Alchemist, to like try to get this like half pulled and stacked and stuff pretty frequently, because if you can keep the lane, like, Alk will always shove the lane every time he uses Acid Spray, but it's like, it's how he lanes. And so you need to be ready to balance that out a lot. And so getting a stacked camp as soon as you can, and that kind of starts with a half pull, doesn't have to, you can choose to just stack at 2 minutes. But whether you half pull or not, getting this camp stacked to always be able to fix his Acid Spray push really helps with the lane, so that you don't just always shove it in and then it stays here forever. Because it comes up and then he's like, I got to Acid Spray again, and it pushes up again. So if you can like get this camp set up as soon as possible and have it in your mind, he's going to push, I'm going to fix it, and then he's laning exactly how he wants, and we're keeping it in a relatively safe area while also denying, it ends up being like really good. I don't know if that made sense. I just like
that's
combined
fine.
between like different topics at once. Sorry.
No, that's fine. It was like with a push-pull mentality on Jakiro, I always just get scared because every time I hit the creeps, now I'm gonna have to go and sort everything out.
Yeah.
Oh no, please don't show us failed side pull. This
This one's tough. Let me see.
I really hope this works.
Oh, you did get it. Another way to do it. So these creeps are actually quite fast. The tomato creeps here. He's got 320 move speed. Let's see if we can find another. This guy's got 290. So he's a lot slower. And I believe the birds. Can we see this one? Yeah, birds 320. He's fast. Centaur creep. Oh, we got them all. Nice. Centaur creep also kind of fast. But what that means is like some of them will walk out this far, like what you did, and some will not, especially if they get body blocked like at all. So a slightly more reliable way to do it is to stop moving like right here, let them attack you, and once you see the attack animation start, you like start to walk in, and then the attack hits you and it draws the aggro of the creeps. And it's a little more consistent. If you always walk out like you did, sometimes the creep will get up to here and then it'll turn around, and then it'll not do the pull.
I think the one that I get that a lot on is the ranged trolls. You know, the ones with like the really short attack range.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I forgot about them. Yeah, we're missing them. Are we?
Thank goodness. I hate that camp so much for doing pulls. I hate them.
It's because they're ranged. That's exactly that. If you do this trick, it'll make it easier. Where you like wait here and then you walk in. That'll make it easier. And then they'll actually kill the hard camp because they're actually pretty strong for that. Okay, so yeah.
I'm trying to think of damage types now, and I'm just blowing my own mind over.
It's not too. Don't worry about it. All right. Unfortunate Alk died, but at least he got a return kill. see. So right here, we don't want to let too much XP go to waste, but I do also want to... So actually, in the end, I think what you're doing here is actually totally fine. But I want it to be a thought, which is that Silencer got killed, Spirit Breaker got really low, Alchemist is dead. So you're like the only one in this lane, right? And it's very easy to just like sit in the lane because you're like, well, he's gone. I'm going to get last hits. But I want it to be a consideration that they are all going to come back. And when they do, you want the lane to be in a favorable spot for you. So what that takes will depend on what's happening. So for example, if the lane's further up, maybe what you need to do to fix the lane to be in a good spot when everyone comes back is to shove it under the tower so that they all die and it resets back here. Other times, like the timing will be close enough for like, oh, it's time for a half pull or a stack, something like that. And so I do want it to be a thought, like especially after like everyone else dies but you kind of thing. Think about it and decide like, is there something else I need to do right now? In this case, maybe you could do a half pull here, but also getting the lane creeps here I think is like okay, because it's like it's not far enough where you could shove it into the lane in time. He'll get back before you can. But oh, for example, like hitting this creep instead of like hitting that range creep once, that's like small, but it does help the lane be in a better spot.
I definitely don't think about equilibrium as much as I should, and you know, as a support, that's kind of really bad.
Yeah, it's a big part of supporting. Ooh, are we doing the trick? Oh, nice.
Doing the thing.
Doing the thing.
Everything.
If you have Ice Path, do you know you can actually double stack this too?
Oh no.
If you have Ice Path, so the stun's 1 second, so you actually have to get the stun to land. Well, actually, it's you have a bit of leeway since this can be hit at 53 through 55. So let's say you're doing this pull, stand somewhere like here, and then let's say at like 53. You have if you're leveling this up, you have to do like slightly different timings. But since it's only a 1 second stun in this case, at 53 you would cast it to stun this camp, and then at 55 you turn and hit this camp, and you walk. Let's walk this way because that's towards the lane. Then these guys will get stunned, they'll get unstunned, and then they'll walk out this way, and it'll double stack. Dual Breath is too short range to do it, I think. So I've never done it with Dual Breath, but if you have Ice Path, you can. But you don't, it's not like mandatory or anything. Stacking once is like more than, that's already beyond meeting expectations, you know? So, but yeah, it's like a nice trick. We can run. Oh, you found him though. What?
Really annoying.
Oh my god, this guy is Bash Lord.
I know.
That's really unfortunate. Right here, I would say, because I know you're gonna get hit by. I see you have this like last word on you. Actually, I think you should have waited for Dual Breath. Even though this guy's like coming in, because Ice Path is not enough damage to kill this guy because it's only like 50, and Liquid Fire is like very weak. But level 2 Dual Breath would be enough to probably kill him, especially with like one auto attack. But that's like heat of the moment thing. I totally get it. But yeah, I think Dual Breath there. Waiting the extra second for Dual Breath to come up and then use it is might have been a kill.
And just into the fact that Zen and Dota is BS.
Yeah,
absolute rubbish.
It was pretty unlucky. He bashed you like 3 times.
Why?
Alright, I saw that camp. I saw this camp didn't spawn on your vision right now. That should let you know that it's blocked. And maybe a sentry, could be an observer. And so I would be careful about placing this ward because there is a chance you're in vision. And then also, because it's blocked, and because there might be vision here, that's also an extra reason to be like very careful playing against a Spirit Breaker, because he can just charge you anytime he like sees you. So you should queue up some sentries as soon as you notice that, and be a little careful. Looks like you're gonna be all right here. Aw.
Yep, the good old-fashioned
it's okay.
randomized path.
You got it anyways. Right here, stack time. So after this, anytime you get a kill, look at the clock and see if there's like something you should be doing. This is like Oh, I don't even know if you can make it. But you have boots, and it's like maybe. I think I would like run over here and see if I can like double stack again. And if you just get one stack, it's like okay, I still stack something. Um, I think you can make it with boots.
Can't remember the game, but there's one game where I start walking to lane and then I'm like, oh crap, stack, and then I go for it and I miss it by like 1 second, and I really, luckily it's not this game.
Yeah, it's tough to always keep on track of the time. There's a sniper here.
That
Oh my
haste
God.
rune as well, which really aggravates me. The haste.
Oh
like,
man.
Why?
That's unlucky.
I thought I was out.
Yeah. All right, you want to buy sentries here instead of these tranquil boots. Two reasons. So one is the thing we talked about with the this is blocked, so there's something. But then what's another reason you want to sentry this area, even if this wasn't blocked? What might be another reason? There's kind of two actually.
I was thinking of it just being the simple case of if they've got vision in any part of the area, then it's like it's a worry for like ganks and things like that.
That's true. But I mean that's like always true, right? And like you could apply that anywhere, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna sentry everywhere. So it's like beyond that, there's a particular reason, but that's the right idea. So I want to make sure this area is safe from ganks, but why? And it's okay if you don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just gonna be something really. I don't know.
No problem. So, as a support, we're trying to get our carries farm, right?
Yep.
And there's something you're doing this game, which is good, and you've been stacking several times. The price of stacking is that you leave the lane and that you have to go stack, but then it's like the carry gets to farm efficiently. And so it's really bad if the enemy takes the stack. So anytime you start getting up several stacks, you need to start feeling a little paranoid. You're like, can the enemy take these? Like that'd be really bad. So like in this jungle, they've been playing the lane a lot, and then it's like a mid sniper. So it's like this jungle's probably okay. But even then I still might like drop a sentry just to be safe. If they had someone like Storm who can steal stacks very easily, I might drop a sentry here to be safe. But then here, you have a triple hard camp stack here actually, and if the enemy like they actually should have taken it after that sniper killed you, he should have done the stack.
He probably should have like shrapnelled the thing as well and just taken some of the creeps.
Exactly. Because you have an alchemist who wants to do these stacks, and even if you didn't have an alch, you had any carry, you don't want them to take a triple stack. This is actually a lot. This is so much gold. I think it's worth buying like a sentry or two and making sure they don't have vision like in this area, somewhere around here. But then also because your camp's blocked, that's like the other thing. Just like a combination of that.
It's like protecting the college fund.
Exactly.
In the future, it's like no, don't go anywhere near it. Don't let them take my money.
You invest in your future. You protect it a little bit.
Absolutely.
And then because you have an Alch up here, that is like a reason for them to like want to kill him. So like then that does go back to what you said, where it's like, you know what? It will protect him from ganks too, to make sure there's no vision here. So it ends up being like a combination of all that. Yeah, I think it's totally okay for you to help him do that stack, by the way, if you felt you needed to.
I walk past this thing so many times and don't reward it.
Let's see.
I'm just like, why? Why is this happening?
Yeah. Right here, I would help him. So after you kill that silencer, the Spirit Breaker can't really contest you, and he's actually under the tower dealing with these creeps, so he won't be in range to steal any of his XP. I think this is a great time to help the Alch. Dual breath it, and if you accidentally take a couple last hits, oops, it wasn't me, dude. Like, come on, Alch, get those last hits.
I'm helping.
Yeah, exactly. I am helping. I am supporting you. You were supposed to get the last hit. I was just helping you get there faster.
It just means you need to go into a last hit trainer. It's not my fault.
Exactly. But yeah, really, like, here's a totally fine time to dual breath this and then auto attack like the big creeps. And then, obviously stop when they get low. Let him finish it off. But it just takes some time to kill these. And it's time you can help him out with the auto attacks before the silencer comes back or before the Spirit Breaker can get in closer. And you're pretty decently leveled, so it's not like a huge deal. Another thing that could have been good to do is to stack the small camp, but at this point you should know it's blocked, so it's like not really an option until you deward it. But I think it's gonna expire.
Yeah, full break. That was just, interesting.
So look, actually, yeah, let's end up playing it out. So yeah, he doesn't end up actually finishing it, and he could have.
Yeah.
So he actually stacked another one. If we ignore that new stack, there's still like all three of the original big creeps plus a lot of these smaller ones. So like this could have been a lot of gold, but now Silencer's back, and so now you can't really do this now because these actually do hurt. Like they hurt a lot if they're hitting you guys. So you now need like another opportunity. You need to kill Silencer again, or like push him away, or have someone rotate up here. And you need to hope they don't bring Sniper up here to steal this. So that's why I think like dual breathing back there would have been pretty good. So not worth looking at. Whoops. Let me see. Do I have any advice for helping hit ice paths? I don't know. They're kind of just tough. They're kind of tough that just like take experience to because you have to cast like where they're gonna be in like 1 second, not where they are.
Lineup takes so long.
Yeah, so I think it is just a level of experience. I wouldn't dual breath this wave. Why not? What do you have any ideas why?
Because then when Alk respawns, it's going to be under their tower. Or just a
yes.
waste of mana.
In this case, because you did attack a couple times too, it will. Even if it had kept equilibrium here, I still wouldn't have I wouldn't have dual breath. And it is about Alk, because Alk is gonna respawn. He's gonna come back here, and it's like 4 creeps he could have had, right?
That's true.
So unless
push into his tower.
Yeah, unless it's gonna go like, unless they're gonna like take the tower, like you're dealing with a Beastmaster or something. Then you do have to clear the creeps really quickly. But in this case, Spirit Breaker Silencer, they're not looking for this tower. They're looking for kills. And you have an Alchemist who's not worried about taking towers. He's just looking for gold and last hits. So this is one where I would even, like, if my creeps died, I would tank the creep wave and just, like, walk up and down up here, trying to keep it outside. Because there was actually quite a few creeps there, and they'll balance here for a long time. Even if Alk chooses not to Acid Spray, like if he just auto-attacks, he can keep it here for a really long time in a very safe spot, giving you chances to like stack or pull or whatever. But if it does ever push, or even if it's at equilibrium, but it's like kind of iffy and it could very easily push, and that like limits your freedom of what you can do. And then dying was just like kind of unfortunate, staying a little too long.
Cherry on the cake, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Against, I guess like, too limited though by positioning, so I think you were like here farming the wave, but you should be like here farming the wave. Just because it's like literally closer to the tower, but it also kind of limits the angle where I think Spirit Breaker charged you here and then he like bashed you backwards. But if you're like over here and he charges you and then he wants to like go stand here and bash you back, it's harder for him because he's like close to the tower. It's just like a very small difference in positioning.
Tower as well, wouldn't it? So.
Yeah. Here we go. Alk trying to farm this again. I think this guy actually just stole like 3 by accident. So this is like another reason to like finish these earlier. Oh no. Yeah, if they get this, this is sad, right? It's like a lot of gold. Yeah, so Spirit Breaker is actually quite close to the Alchemist, which is not ideal. Yeah, this is good. It's like farming the stack you made earlier. I'm thinking about like how to summarize this laning stage then. Part of it, huh?
Bad, I was gonna say.
It just needs some slight redirection. I think it really is about equilibrium again, I guess. A lot of supporting is in the laning is about equilibrium and like what do I want with it. So when you have an aggressive lane versus like a losing lane versus like a heavy farming lane like Alk, it does end up about equilibrium. So like in this case, not stacking the small camp to like set up more options for yourself to like keep equilibrium around here. Like in the end, they did steal this, like allowing them to steal this versus helping the Alk to do it. Those kind of small things kind of added up for it to be kind of a losing lane in the end. Like doing this pull instead of possibly stacking the small camp. Because actually, when Alk shoves this into the tower, it will reset. You don't even have to strictly pull this creep wave right now. It's or actually another way to think about it is that Alk could have done this pull. Alk could have done this pull while you stack this camp, and then that solves both. But as a support, I probably would have stacked this. Like if it's only me, I probably would have stacked this small camp. Just because it does keep the lane up here like for another wave, which is unfortunate, but it will reset after that on its own. And then I will have a stacked camp ready to do like anything else. And so now going forward, I can always keep it here for like the next 2-3 minutes. Whereas this ends up kind of like being over the place a little bit.
Yeah, I think I like my main sort of takeaway for that is it's just like I definitely need to focus on stacking that small camp and using it better.
Yeah.
I think that's like my baby steps sort of.
Yeah. It's like a baby step, but it's also like a really big step. It's really good.
It's lane winning.
Yeah, for sure. And like as soon as it's blocked, like really prioritize it. I mean, I've made that mistake recently too. I can't even like can't even flame it that hard.
I mean, we've all done it. We've all done it.
It happens. But yeah, it's like really important to have this option available to you, and like stacking this instead of like this one, stuff like that, I think is a little better. All right, so let's see. Juggernaut, Jakiro. You deciding what to buy? You maybe are AFK a bit.
No, this was a genuine like I'm trying to think about it, and then I kind of just defaulted to regen. I think if I remember rightly.
Let's see. So it's probably Bloodseeker Rubik.
Yeah, this would have been a stick. I think this would have been a stick lane.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. That's
now I look back at it, I'm sitting there thinking, spamming of Blood Bright and Fade Bolt, this would actually have been so perfect.
Anytime this is not like a hard rule, but I find that anytime an offlaner needs to use spells to secure last hits, it tends to be a decent stick game, because there's going to be last hits every 30 seconds, and if you use Magic Stick as a regen item for trading, it's like iffy, because a spell does like 100 damage and then you get like 15 back, right? So it takes like a lot of spells before it like starts to add up, and it's like, well, actually I just lost the trade. But if you can get charges like for free technically, because they're using last hits, or they're using spells to get last hits, then that's when like a Magic Stick feels really good, because like, hey, that range creep's getting low, I know what they're gonna do. You like walk in a little closer to make sure you get the Magic Stick charge, and then like don't get hit by the spell, of course. But yeah, you get like a bunch of Magic Stick charges that way, and you don't have to like, because the downside of the Magic Stick is it's 200 gold, so you can't buy other regen too much. But if you can like build up those charges for free, it's like you're getting the regen without having needed to use any regen, and it works out quite well. But yeah, I would have been okay with a Magic Stick this lane. Maybe trade off like 2 mangoes and a clarity. Oh, that would have been like just a little short, actually. Maybe both clarities. Maybe like Tango, Salve, 1 mango, 1 Magic Stick. I think
this ends up being a tri lane, actually. I think I can remember this lane as a 1 lane, but I'm not the reason we win it.
Ooh. Okay, let's see it. Oh, this is so scary, dude. You're about to get cliffed.
I know, no. See what I mean? I am not the reason we win this lane, so I'm okay with it. If anything, I am the ultimate detriment to any sort of lane in this.
Honestly, I actually think it's a little bit of a bait now. I used to play a lot of Rubik. I used to love cliffing people. It was so good. Now that you start with teleport scrolls, I actually think it's not as good.
At least it's kind of said, like, I suppose the only thing I took as a positive out of it was he doesn't have Fade Bolt now.
Exactly. That's the huge issue.
Yeah, he can't secure range now because he doesn't have the ability. He doesn't have Fade Bolt to do it. He doesn't trade as well.
Yeah. Before, you could cliff someone, and like there were no backpacks or anything like that, so no one had a TP to start. And there's one courier, so having the courier come to bring you a scroll was really bad too. And you could just guard it, so like the courier can't even bring it to them. And that left like that handicapped him so hard. But now it's just like, okay, dude, I had to teleport to my tower, but now you've got telekinesis for the laning stage. So actually, seeing it, I wonder if it's like a next level bait. Let's call it that, right? You were baiting him into taking telekinesis for the lane. Oops, my bad. Phone. But yeah, I actually think it's not good to cliff people anymore. It's at least not at the start. It actually feels so lackluster a bit.
It's a meme, isn't it? It's one of those weird.
You trade decently with Rubik when you hit dual breath.
If I hit your...
Oh, Oracle's here. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I remember this lane. Oracle wins this lane for us. It's not anything to do with me.
Well, then let's start thinking about what you can do to win this lane then.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So, sick Rubik kill. What's your next step right now? Now that we have like the time to like we're relaxed all the time in the world, what do you think is the next step?
Pull the crap out of this lane.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Clarity 2. Oh, you used a Mango. Yeah, I would Clarity instead, because you have the time. I mean, tri-lanes are weird, for sure. They don't happen too often anymore, so it's like hard to get it right. Looks like another kill happening. Okay. Missed the chance to do the 117 pull, but that's still... He's got to kill it. Actually, this lane equilibrium is incredible. It's hard to... This is actually really good. But yeah, someone right now needs to be getting ready to do the stack at 153. I mean, not like right now. You guys still have like a few seconds, but it's the biggest issue in a tri lane is to all absorb XP and not get enough done and not deny XP. In this case, you've gotten 2 kills so far, so it's good, but it's a pub, and so like who knows, it can like very suddenly like snowball out of control in the other way. So I think like trying to get a stack in is a very good safety measure to make sure like okay, we're not getting kills, they're playing safe, someone go do like deny an entire creep wave from them and they can't even try. Like if they come over, then that's our kill right there, 3 versus 2. But you can't deny a full creep wave if you don't have a stacked camp. And if you try to do a pull with a small camp but you screw it up, like you don't do a half pull or something, then you shove the lane into them, and as a tri lane, that's like super bad. It looks good though.
Yeah, I think I can just remember the Oracle just saying like, basically just kept saying like let's just go for kills, let's just keep killing them.
Right here? What do you think you should do?
I mean, I've already missed that
Should go
pull,
back
so
a
I
second.
could probably...
So right,
I mean, this kill's gonna happen regardless, so I should have just gone for the pull while I had the time.
Yeah, it would have been... I don't blame you, though, like, running at him to make sure you get the kill. I think I would have done the same thing, just in case, like...
I pulled it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Right here, it's like 2 choices. We either shove this into the lane immediately and hope that some of them start dying before they respawn, or we pull this hard camp. So... whether it's this creep wave, it might be hard to hit this creep wave, to be honest. This range creep's gonna like, yeah, they're actually like dead right now. So I think it'd be really hard to do this pull. Though you do have a ward up here, so technically Oracle could like hit this and then do this pull, and I think that would have been pretty good. But since we missed a small pull at this point, doing this hard pull, like either this way or this way, would also be good, because you guys can zone them away. Like Oracle stands like here, you stand here, and like if they want to come in for XP, Maybe they still sap a little bit of XP, but at least they're not getting the last hits. And then while that's happening, someone goes and stacks a small camp or does a half pull or whatever. Depends on timing.
Almost like make a massive capital letters note on a notebook just to be like, must stack pull. Must actually stack small camps.
Oh, it looks like, okay, Oracle did do this hard camp pull, and now you're here. So once I see Oracle do this one, so
I'm about to do.
it looks like you're about to do a pull. I would say you actually stack this camp. I gotta say, you're really all three of these. You start with the ghost camp. This is great luck. I feel like I get kobolds all the time.
Kobold. Oh, I cry if I ever get kobolds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, well, this thing's just gonna die before I've even got there. So
yeah.
it's gonna be fine.
So, why do you think this is bad? This pull is bad, and a stack would have been way better. But why? Do you know why? Or can you come up with some reasons?
The equilibrium was already reset under the perfect. Now what's going to happen is they're going to kill off that. We're going to get a double wave that's going to push it straight back into that and mess up the equilibrium that Oracle has literally just fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just griefed the Oracle over by doing this pull.
Yeah, it's making it... If you wanted to do a half pull here, that would work for equilibrium, but then you would end up with the small camp that's weak. And I think you'd prefer, like you said, equilibrium was already fine. So it's like, do I really need to deny 2 creeps that, frankly, might die off, like, over here anyways, out of their XP range, versus, like, having this stacked camp ready. So, yeah, I think stacking it would have been a lot better. And I think we're going to see equilibrium shove out, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
So what you could do instead of doing this, you probably aren't ready to come here yet, because I think you're so slow. If you come over here, you'll miss the stack. So you stay here for a second. You stack, and you pull in this direction. And, well, let's just play it out. So, like, you'd be here, stacking. Okay, we walk this way, come over here. And there's still 1 creep alive. And one of them might run over for this. So you're now here, ready to contest, like, maybe get 1 more deny. Maybe this big creep had fallen lower, so maybe we get that last hit. Equilibrium, like, Jug is solo here. Jug's super happy. You have a stacked camp here, and this creep wave is probably dying to, like, these 2 creep waves are probably killing each other here. So, like, after you finish fighting over this, you now walk over here, and after a second, I don't think Bloodseeker would have walked over here, right? If he sees the creeps here, he has no reason to come over here. He comes over here because of this pull. So if you didn't do this pull, I don't think Bloodseeker comes over, and that means you'd have a stacked camp here to do this pull. Whether you, like, cut through this tree or you just wait to, like, do this backside, either's fine. But that would be, like, a stacked pull, and now you're denying creeps from, like, 3 enemy heroes, and it would have, like, sold this Trilane for sure. It would have been so good. It's still, like, decent so far, but it looks like Oracle might die here. Oops. Ah! So close. Maybe you can body block for this Oracle here, by the way. Like, once he starts running this way. So right now, your auto attacks aren't bad, but, like, Oracle will die while you auto attack. But if you get a good dual breath off, like, that could be good, but you have 3 seconds. So then I think the best way to keep him alive is to, because you're very tanky right now, is to body block them a little bit. Like, right here, you run behind Oracle. Like, right here. And you, like, you see him back off, so now you, like, switch your attention to this lion, because the jug is here. So now you dual breath the lion, and you kill the lion before this Oracle dies. And I think it would have, I think Oracle survives a little bit.
I think if I'd have hit the dual breath as well, he would have lived because the movement's slow.
Yeah, probably. Dual breath's tough.
It's just annoying. Everything on Jakiro is just that you did.
Oh, this is a kill right here. Kill this man. What's he doing?
Yeah, this lane was sort of like a, they played it really badly. But it was,
You might consider, I see you're like starting to build up a little bit of gold. What are some items you could buy? Let me see what you end up
This is
buying.
the thing. I was like, I've never been this rich on Jakiro before in a lane. I was just like, I didn't know what to do.
So when you're in a tri-lane, there's a couple things that are like, I mean, a
Complete that one.
tri-lane means like there's tons of fighting, right? So then it's like any early fighting item tends to be pretty good. So infused raindrops can be good because they're giving you mana regen. They help you tank through a couple spells. A Basilius ends up being like quite a lot of value in a tri-lane because it's like 3 heroes all getting mana, and because you're always fighting, you're always together to like actually be in the aura, so that's pretty good. A wand can be good depending on the game. I would say clarities though. One clarity could be okay, like maybe you do a pull or like maybe after a fight breaks out, you clarity once. But because in a tri-lane fighting happens so often, it's kind of hard to be out of the lane for a long time to clarity up, and that's when like mangoes actually become more valuable in a tri-lane because you can pop them immediately and start fighting. And then also in a tri-lane, it helps to have the vision advantage. So you can also choose to buy like a sentry or two and make sure they don't have any wards anywhere, and you win the vision war here. And then suddenly they feel so uncomfortable. They're like, I know there's 3 heroes here, but I only see the jug in the lane. So that can be another option. Let's see.
Just looking at yeah, I think it will show it on. Oh no, it won't show it to your screen. I was just gonna say, looking at the guide on the Jakiro award, it comes from a certain somebody anyway. So.
Nice. What do I have on that? Is this the one I use?
I think ironically the tooltip on that for stick says to buy it against silencer.
Which
now
one?
I remember it on the stick. Oh no, it was Bat Rider, not silencer. Never mind, everyone's good.
Funny enough, I don't even use my own guide because I put in all the items here, but like I don't even like to see all of them, so I just use a separate one that is like much more simpler. How do I close out of this now?
Oh, there is no way out now.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Just have to press escape. All right, let's go a little further in this. But I mean, yeah, it looks like the lane's been going pretty well. Let's see. Does Oracle start to move around? Thoughts? You're doing a pull here?
It needs to be a stack. It's one of those things again, isn't it? Because it's just. I mean, they've got 2 range creeps, so it's going to push into. So this is going to push.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need to reset the equilibrium because it's coming to us anyway.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So this should just be a stack instead of a pull. What I need to do is, before I'm defaulting to these pulls, I need to look over at my lane, count the creeps that are in them, and then stack to have an emergency ready to slowly win the deny war over time.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. That's everything I have to say.
Okay.
So you got it. Yeah, if this camp if this camp was stacked, then I think this pull is okay because you will kill off all these creeps. Then the lane pushes up and then juggle farm it. Though maybe because there's a catapult wave, maybe you don't want to do that because then they do have like all these creeps and a catapult. It's gonna like get some damage in. But because you guys are winning this lane, maybe it's fine. Like maybe Jug just kills all the creeps and then it's not a huge deal. But it can be a consideration to like see, oh, the siege creeps are still alive. Maybe I'll be a little careful. But yeah, since it's a single camp, I think it's way better to stack here instead.
Yeah, I do a lot of that. Like after like the first 2-3 minutes, I kind of default to just looking. Oh my god, it's 17 seconds. Oh my god, it's 47 seconds. I gotta do these random things and just not think about stack timings or any of that. I've just got to try and break that habit.
Yeah, try to really think about like, do I need to pull versus like it is simply the time to pull. Because yeah, a bunch of died over here, but Lion's been in XP range for most of it, and then we end up with like 4 creeps here, and this is like a good spot for them. Whereas it never needed to happen, right? It could have like stayed here the whole time. And there's no way Lion's like walking up here without seeing you guys or not. Because if he gets hit by like an Oracle Q, then Jug's running up spin and he's dead.
Especially when we've been killing them so regularly, by this point they're probably tilted enough that there's going, I'm not going to this.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can actually see their wards here now too. So like this is what I meant by like when the lane is here, he might feel comfortable because he's like, oh, actually no one's here. He'll walk up. But if you like make sure they have no vision, then he's like, I don't know, they could be 3 heroes, could be 1, and now he's like forced to like hide in the trees or something, or like be way back here. So yeah, those are like, I mean, tri-lanes are pretty rare to be honest, so I wouldn't expect you to know.
It was the first one I had in like ages.
Yeah.
Stay there, so it's kind of like, I don't really know what I'm meant to do here. Am I meant to kind of go to, because then I'm sitting there going, oh crap, we've got to get a load of kills to make the tri-lane worth it. And then it's like, we were getting the kills, so I was like, okay, this doesn't normally go this well. This is really bad.
Yeah. I think this...
I tried to like rotate to an active lane.
Yeah, I think this is good, because top's already going in a pretty solid spot, so now you're getting here, you're getting the tower. Now Jug can come down here, and you can tri-lane again, but now with the Spirit Breaker, he's like going to charge and stun people. So I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I was trying to set up some vision deeper to try and catch like Tinker's farm and things like that. I probably shouldn't have done it on an ice spot. I probably could have done it in a little bit of a better play.
Whoa. Oh god, this is so scary. Is this gonna work out? Oh my god.
Yeah. Ah! I remember this.
Oh no.
Easy baits. The TPs. No worries at all.
Oh, nice. Now we're gonna kill Rubik. Oh my god, that was scary. I'd be... Okay, it worked out. I'd be a little careful of running at Luna when she has her ult, when she's 6. Oh, but it worked this time.
You're probably saying, how on earth did they lose this game?
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys did lose. It's a Tinker game, right? So probably just like failed to like high ground push a couple times.
No, we didn't even get that far.
Oh no.
No, we took all these outer towers, but couldn't take the mid tower. So what ended up unfortunately happening is 5 sort of heroes trying to push into a mid tower really badly against March of the Machines. And he won about 4 fights, and then Tinker kind of gets accelerated, then we couldn't kill him.
Yeah, it's tough playing. Maybe we can check it out real quick though. So you wanted to spot Tinker farming jungle, and I think that's a good idea. Where else could you ward besides here?
I believe that the wood, like looking back on it, I should have put it up by those stairs.
This one or like here?
Like instead. It's impossible without a cursor.
Oh.
So like that. So here. Like, other one there. Yeah, that one.
This one.
So near that. So I've got vision of the 2 camps. So when he tries to march over the 2 camps, then I mean it's less likely to be dewarded as well. So I think I placed it as like a glimpse sort of ward to be like, yeah, I'm here. I can't be here for very long. I'm just gonna stick down the first bit of vision I can, rather than actually think about where my wards are gonna go.
I would say I don't mind this how come I can't? Oh, it's because we're like paused, I think. Oh, here we go. I don't mind this idea like here, but I don't know if this happens to you. But you can put a sentry here to deward both spots, which will get this one here. And even if you don't, you just put a sentry up there, it will get this spot. Have you seen me use this spot?
Oh, I haven't.
Okay. If you want to do it, this spot is really good. It's very rare to get dewarded. It goes on this little like ledge, so it actually doesn't block the camp. And you'll see this camp. You won't quite see this camp, but you'll see like a strip here, and that's usually like enough to know when he's farming it. But actually, you don't even have to use this one if you don't want. I think this cliff is fine too if you're prepared to like fight over it and defend. But then the last thing is, you actually won't see Tinker with those wards very much. Maybe if the one you were thinking of here, you might see Tinker like stand over here. But if you actually think about like how Tinker plays the lane and farms, He comes here. He like uses March of the Machines. He walks like back here, and he marches to the machines like both these camps. But he does so by like standing in this area, and you can't see him with like maybe you see him with this cliff ward, but it's hard. And the other spot he farms is like over here, where he like farms both of these camps with March of the Machines by standing here. So actually, a deep ward back here is like really good to spot Tinker if you have the means to kill him, which Spirit Breaker is arguably someone who can do it. But also if you have like a Storm Spirit, or like whatever mid, you know, like if you have a mid who can kill Tinker, sometimes the best way to actually provide vision to kill Tinker is like a deep ward back here, because it spots like all the places Tinker likes to stand to farm. He likes to like keep rotating in this area, and he doesn't actually come out over here a lot of the times until he gets up like Blink and stuff. In the beginning, like when you're looking to kill him, it's like he's actually back here or on this side, but usually it's over here.
Because obviously he'll think he's safe there, because obviously he's like, yeah, no support's gonna walk behind my tower and place deep vision.
Yeah.
Where they're wrong.
Yeah, and it's pretty uncommon to like deward back here, I feel like, at least at this part of the game. So yeah, this is a really good spot for Tinker.
Yeah, he definitely robs me of so much MMR. Whenever I see him, I don't want to play this game.
Another option, if you want, if you don't want to walk like over here, you don't want to ward, you could actually just like block one camp. You'd block like this camp and like this camp, and then he's like sad. You don't have to. This camp is not as important to block because a mid laner can sap XP by accident, or like intentionally. But like if they stand here, they actually get half the experience that Tinker's farming. But it's hard to like contest these. So if you wanted to block camps versus Tinker and you have the choice, I would try to like block some of the deeper ones. That's another option, but you don't have to.